So I think when I first heard about Pam, I heard about it through social media and heard about her through mainly my Facebook and Facebook feeds and stuff. And I think at the time I had the assumption leaving the NHS that it was going to be like a fairly simple process to set up my clinic and kind of start the process and start turnover. But actually, after speaking to Pam and going to her events, we quickly discovered that it's not that simple, and actually there are so many minor nuances and intricacies of business management that you actually don't ever contemplate coming back from a medical background, as I did. So I think even things like knowing how much I am earning per hour that I'm in my clinic, and actually whether any of that earning is actually profitable or not, and those things you don't really tend to have any concept of. So actually going and trying to understand that information, comprehend it, and actually come to terms with it, it was a bit of a revelation. So I think I gained a lot from that, but it kind of takes you back a bit and makes you just slightly vulnerable, because you suddenly discover that it's not all it's not all just happiness, and there's a lot of work that will go behind everything that you do. What I've really focused on is my social media, because I think before that point I was really terrified as a doctor to basically be seen, sometimes even by my NHS colleagues, kind of as to, oh, what is he doing, and kind of what's going on. And it was really hard for me to kind of step out of my shell. And I'm actually quite a nice, likable person. I hope to think, but I think it was really hard for me to step out and say, kind of, actually, no, I'm putting myself out on a limb, and this is what I want to do. So actually, Pam really helped me to she kind of like mothered me, and I've really tried to basically be findable, and it's a big thing, and part of that was my own Facebook, creating a business page and kind of having a brand that's showing the public what I'm about and what I want to bring to business and to aesthetics, and I've found that I've got a lot of colleagues in the industry who kind of hide behind logos, or are kind of very it's all about patients and what they're getting, but actually if you look into it, patients don't even know who's doing the procedures or what's going on. So it was really hard. It was a big hurdle for me, and there was a few moments where you kind of question what you're doing, but I think overall it was the best advice I ever got, and it just meant that it kind of catapulted me kind of exponentially from where I was right at the beginning to kind of where I am. And loads of people frequently come and stop me at a conference and say, oh yeah, thanks Raj, I read your article, or Pam's been instrumental in kind of helping me achieve a lot more hurdles and overcoming a lot more stuff very quickly, considering I'm still not that far into the industry. I've tried as much as I can to take on her advice. I think the biggest piece of advice that I would give my former self was to basically stop saying yes to everything, because I think because when you start, you just have a lot of vulnerability and a lot of insecurities about what you want to do and what you want to achieve, and you're very much kind of like not very vocal about it. And then basically when someone comes to shake your hand and give you an offer, I was very much quick to say yes to everything. And actually now, in retrospect, I mean, I think trying to focus on my own thing and trying to make sure that I do as much as I can, and making sure I understand what the priorities are and prioritize my own workload is probably the best advice I could give. And I think I've streamlined that now, but it's taken a few years for me to understand. And I think I've spent too much time worrying about stuff that in retrospect I didn't actually need to worry about. But Pam's definitely been helpful with that, and she's given me loads of advice and loads of encouragement to make the right decisions, and give me the kind of, not just coaching and mentoring, but she's a really close friend, and she's given me the advice on a personal level to say, actually, I think that we think that in order to move you forward in the right way, these are the steps that probably would be advisable. But ultimately, it is your prerogative as an individual. But I think it's been instrumental with that. So I really appreciate everything she's done for me.